All right, I've got a thing here, Matt. Do you want to... It's a wax cylinder player. Do you remember the wax? You were with me the day I got this, right?
Yeah, or you had just picked it up recently. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I've got just a ton of wax cylinders here. I haven't played any of them. Well, that's not true. I played some of them, and I played some for Hank Green the other day on the Project for Awesome thing we were doing, but I would just like to play some of these wax cylinders for you. Can we do that? They're audio format.
Okay, hold on a second. Not everybody knows what a wax cylinder is. Can you describe what you have in front of you right now?
Mm-hmm. So I've got a box. It looks like some kind of small piece of furniture, except it just sits on the top of your desk. It's a square box. It's got a Roman-style coping on top of it, and imagine you can lift it up like a clam. And so you open it up, and there's this metal cylinder inside, and you put things on it, and you play them. I don't know, it's like a record. Instead of a disc, it's a cylinder. That's not a very good description.
No, the cylinders are like if you cut the top and the bottom off of a Coke can. They're a little bit smaller than that, but am I picturing about the right size?
Yeah, or like the mini Coke cans.
Sure.
Yeah, like that. I tried to take this thing apart a minute ago, and I'm worried I may have damaged it. Let's see. Okay.
Why did you want to take it apart?
Because I want the needle to touch down on the wax cylinder really well, and it wasn't. The problem is I don't know about the needle. I don't know if the needle is good or bad. There's a little thing in here that says, you hear this? It's a little envelope. It says 50 medium, but I took the little needle thing apart, and I couldn't figure out where the needles went. And I should be able to do that. Mechanical things are kind of my thing, but I couldn't figure out where it went, so I feel stupid now.
So you took it apart because of how you are.
Yes. So okay. I may have damaged it irreparably. So the first one I was going to play for you here says 1574 Medley of War Songs. Shall we try?
Yes. The World War I songs, I assume?
I have no idea. Let's see. Oh, that's not working. Hold on. You kind of
it's a good start.
You have to push the needle down. Let's see. It's not working. That's not working at all. This is not working at all. All right, hold on.
I still believe.
All right, so
wait,
how do
try a different cylinder.
I got to make it move along the cylinder. That seems to be my issue. 1 second. Let me see.
When you're pushing it down, it's digging in too much? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. It's not... So it has to move along the cylinder. It's not doing that. Here we go. Let's try again. This is a disaster.
Are you adjusting the speed there, or is it responding differently because you're applying pressure with your hand to the needle?
I am adjusting speed. Well, there's a governor. There's a little lever. I can throw this lever, and it adjusts the tension. And the problem is, for some reason, it's not moving. I'm going to try it one more time.
Did you try a different cylinder, though? Just see if a different one does something better?
Yes, I will. 1 second. Okay. Okay, let me cut that off. Let me raise that cylinder. Okay. I have pulled that cylinder off, which I've completely grooved in one location. That's not good. I think what I need to do...
That wasn't the good part of the song anyway.
No. It's a worm gear down at the bottom, and the worm gear drags the needle along the cylinder, but that particular thing is not working. Oh, it has to pivot or something. Okay. This isn't going to work, man. I'm going to have to take this thing apart, and we'll have to do it on a future podcast. So,
I think it's a really good tease, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix these things, but we had one growing up.
Did you really?
And so I can picture it, and I can picture it not working. I just don't remember how we fixed it.
Ooh, there's a big spring.
It was some kind of... It was a bush fix, dude. We did something really weird. I remember my grandparents on my dad's side had one of these things, and then Dad inherited it. We would play these things in our shop in downtown Fort Collins. We had a shop called Wear It Again, Sam. It was a vintage clothing shop. That was my first job. I sold clothes from World War I, like vaudeville era to World War II. And
Really?
we would play these things in the store, except it just became impractical because you had to change the record every single song, and I'm trying to sell clothes and stuff, right? So eventually we recorded it all onto cassette tapes, and then we would just play the cassette tapes of these old-timey wax cylinder recordings. But we had to go and change some of them because they were no longer representative of the cultural values of the day and age in which we lived. But most of them we could put on the tape and it would work. But there was some, I wish I could remember, there was some dumb fix. It was like a lubricant or like a honey or like something that we put, and it just made things move more smoothly. And then it was the same problem. It was stuck in one place. The gear was a little worn out right at the beginning. And if we helped it just a little ways into the record, then it would start to move down that, I believe you called it worm gear.
Yeah,
and function.
exactly.
But
yeah.
I don't remember what we did.
Man, this is frustrating because I really want to hear these things, but you're absolutely right. What I'd love to do is translate these, you said, into cassette tapes. I'd love to do it into MP3s, but what I'm looking at is the whole needle apparatus moves down the cylinder, and it has to be driven down the cylinder, and that's what I'm doing wrong. So that's a problem for another day, but man, that's frustrating. I really wanted to show you those things. What do you mean they weren't indicative of the cultural values of the day? What are you trying to say there?
Some of the songs lyrically, I'm sure they made sense in the cultural context of whatever, 1910, but they just came off as kind of demeaning and mean-spirited when you played them in 1990, whatever, when we had that little shop.
Like they were racist?
Yeah. And I don't know, some of them were particularly critical of Germans and Japanese people. Like pretty much everybody we had a war with in the first 40 years of the 20th century, there were lots of mean wax cylinders about them.
Okay, here's a song called When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, The Isle of
That's
Dreams.
a lovely song.
I think these are older, though. I mean, I think these are like 1909 kind of time frame.
And we had stuff that was that old. The oldest stuff was black, and then the newer ones were blue, if I recall correctly, like kind of a navy blue. Have you ever bought sticks of deodorant that have the cardboard? They're like in a cardboard tube, and they thump when you pull them open. Have you seen these? Like all natural, whatever. Yeah, they all had cases like that would make a boom sound when you would pull them open, and the wax cylinder would sit in sort of a cardboard base,
like a push pop,
and then a protective shroud. Yeah, great. Yes, like a push pop. I remember the song that I learned there was not Johnny Get Your Gun. That's the first line. That's not the song. It's Over There was the song. Maybe I think I've told you about that before.
Over there.
Yeah. Send the word over there. Do you remember who's coming?
Nope.
It's British? The Yanks. The Yanks are coming. The Yanks are coming. We're gonna beat all of Europe in a war with our guns and our plane. I don't know the words, but basically the point is, look out, Europe, because the Yanks are coming.
Wow.
And I don't think these songs were ever intended to be played for Europeans. Is a big part of why they felt weird. And then the world kind of came to America. You know, you'd have people in there in the shop who are of East Asian descent, and we got songs in there about how we're going to rock and sock the Japanese. And I'm like, we shouldn't. Guys, we're over it. Like, I feel like we're at peace now. I'm sorry for the song. I'll make that go away forever. I mean, they were just all like, rah, rah, go America, we're going to beat you at fighting. But When Irish Eyes, that's a really just nice folk song. That doesn't have anything to do with anyone being the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
Maybe we just bought the super racist box of old songs and you bought the really nice box of old songs.
Well, I'm sorry. I was hoping to play some of that for you for like a few minutes, but it's not going to work. Sorry about that.
No, now we have a plot arc. Just
what's our plot
engineer
arc?
A solution. Well, the plot arc is you're going to fix it because of how you do that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'll fix that. It'll be something we can look forward to in a future episode. How are things going with you, man? I heard when you got ready, you talked to Alexa and had Alexa initiate podcast mode. What was that about?
Yeah, I did that. I don't know if I'm going to stick with the Alexa thing, but I'm trying it out because there was just somebody who was getting rid of one of the little Alexa balls. Have you seen them? They're like the size of a softball. It's an Amazon product.
Yeah.
And it's just black, and it's a speaker, and you can talk to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a light that comes on when you're talking to it, and it's listening. And then there's another light, and that means I'm not listening unless you say that one particular word, which is her name. I'm not going to say it because then she'll start yelling at me in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, cool, I'll try it out, because I also got on Facebook Marketplace, somebody was getting rid of a whole bunch of that particular product, Alexa, compatible Wi-Fi switches, dimmers and everything. And I was like, cool, I want to build a whole setup in my little studio thing that I've got so I can just say, engage this mode, and then all the lights go that direction, and I don't have to do anything. I've now built that out. I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm trying to feel out if you would like to know all the silly things I did, or if we should just stop telling you about my silly self-indulgent automated workspace now.
Well, the most interesting thing to me so we were on the phone, you walk in, and I can say it because I don't have an Alexa here. You said, Alexa, engage podcast mode. Is that what you said?
That is what I said. Mm-hmm.
And Alexa responded to you and said, beware of Twitter? Is that what? Can you just do it? Can we hear it? You built a reminder into your thing. Can I hear it?
Yeah, let's we'll see if you can hear it from here. Alexa, engage desk mode.
Desk mode engaged. Beware of Twitter. It devours days.
Now engage podcast mode. I want to hear what it says there.
Alexa, engage podcast mode.
Podcast mode engaged.
That's it. She just confirms it.
So only on desk mode you have it remind you to beware of Twitter.
Because it devours days. Yeah, and then I say, Alexa, engage video mode.
Video mode engaged. Say true things kindly, interestingly, and quickly.
So these are reminders you have for yourself?
One reminder is, if I'm going to make things on the internet, make it about the people who consume it as best as possible and not about me. So make it interesting and useful and about them and quick. And then the other reminder is, Twitter doesn't just destroy days, it destroys life. It wrecks my ability to think. It creates a false version of reality, and I'm a sucker for it. And I built in that reminder, and it's been really helpful. It just helps me to close that tab and not wreck my brain on that stupid app.
What app do you have on your phone right now? Like, what social media is your poison of choice?
Twitter when I have it activated, but I turn it off a lot. Mm-hmm. Right now, honestly, the thing that I keep clicking on that I'm having fun with is Rumble. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that's like a super right-wing video thing, right?
I think it's just a YouTube competitor, isn't it? Is it really right-wing? Like, is it coded that way?
I mean, that's what I associate it with. Okay, I just went to rumble.com. Looks like Senator's wife exposed, special counsel attacks, Trump daily briefing, watch White House press conference, pump the brakes, checking today's sports betting lines. It seems to be most of the people on here seem to be associated with the right, if you believe in the right and the left. There's other stuff on here too, gaming channels.
Yeah, for the longest time, the first thing that I would open when I opened my phone was YouTube. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. Let's see what people have to say. I'm in a fight with the YouTube algorithm, apparently. They've determined that I'm not authentic content. So there's this ongoing saga. I don't know how to fix it. Whatever. I mean, people still watch videos, and some of them still do really well. It's the internet. Whatever. I don't know how it works. It's okay. I'm grateful to YouTube for publishing my videos at all. But Rumble, I went and looked at it, and it kind of looked like a YouTube competitor in its early days. And so for the last little while, I've just published a few videos at random. I think I have 5 up there right now. They don't have a lot of views. I don't have a lot of followers or anything, but it's weird. I'm all excited about, this video ticked over 200 views. That's pretty cool. That's not a number I would even notice or think about on other things that I do. But now it's like just hanging around on this silly little app that nobody is on makes me appreciate each and every human who would take a minute to watch my thing so much more because the numbers are so small. So I've kind of been dialed in on that, and it's been refreshing because my phone app situation has not been real good of late. Has it been good for you?
No, it hasn't been good at all. So I guess Twitter and Reddit were the main two poisons of choice that I would spend the most time with. And then Twitter got really toxic, really, really toxic. And I noticed it was bad for me. I'm a man. I'm attracted to ladies. There's only one lady I care to be attracted to, and that's my wife. And so when it starts throwing stuff in front of you, like a lot, you're like, all right, I don't want this on my phone anymore. This is not healthy for me. So I was reading Job this morning, the book of Job in the Bible, and he talks about making a covenant with his eyes. And I was like, man, I gotta get this off. I got the app off my phone. I got Reddit is just a time sink for me. And I've also noticed that people are angry on Reddit for really no reason.
Mm-hmm. It's just a habit. Anger is a habit, and it's become a habit over there. Mm-hmm.
Really? Yeah. My dad said it this way. He said, Reddit is just a competition to see who can be the most angry and complain about their life. Who can complain the most?
And of course, some of the complaints are going to be valid, but it's about complaining as an orientation. And you get to a death spiral when you get to a place where what you contribute, what you imagine you're good at, is seeing crappy things and articulating that they're crappy. Mm-hmm. That means that the soul is damaged, and it's a really good idea to pull back from that. And Reddit kind of feeds that thing of just that unique style of anger, and it works on me way too well. I don't use Reddit really much at all anymore.
Yeah. I still do some stuff in Reddit, but for the most part, it's not a great place.
Do you remember the last time you were on Reddit?
Oh yeah, I was on Reddit earlier today. It's really weird.
Yeah, I thought you seemed angry earlier today. That's weird. Yeah, I remember earlier I was thinking.
Destin's a jerk. No, I think it's important to get this stuff off our phones, man. I think it's quite important, actually. And so what I've done is I've built in friction. I watched this really great video by this young lady about the concept of a Skinner box. Are you familiar with as soon as I say it, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Have you heard of the psychological?
I don't, just from the name. I don't know what that is.
So it's the behavioral psychology test where they have a pigeon and a button. You've heard of this?
You mean like Skinner, the behavioralist?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, long story short, they put a pigeon in a box, and they had a button in the box. And when the button would be hit by the pigeon, like walking over it or something like that, they would give the pigeon food. Well, they noticed that the pigeon would hit the button when it wanted food. Well, there's this other thing where they would randomly give the pigeon food, and they noticed that it developed really weird behaviors. Like it would hit the button more because it was a random dopamine ramp, they call it. The dopamine that you would get when you hit a button, you're like, oh, I'm about to get food. That gives me pleasure. That was one experience. But the idea of, well, I'm going to hit the button and I might get food, instead of giving the brain dopamine, I don't know how all this stuff works. I'm just regurgitating what I saw in the video. You know, you ramp up the dopamine and then you ride there for a while. So it's called a dopamine ramp. And so instead of just getting a spike and you're done, you stay up there. And this is a lot of the psychology that goes into algorithms today. Instead of swiping and like, oh, I want to go see what Henry from Minute Physics is doing, let me go check my subscriptions tab. What they do now is they just say, oh, you're on the app. This is a thing that's interesting. If you swipe, you might get something interesting, or you might not. And so it's the swiping that you're addicted to. And that was the name of this lady's video, is called You're Not Addicted to what is it, Instagram or X or whatever. You're addicted to swiping. That's what she said. Let me find her. What are your thoughts on that?
So the take home of the video was, I'm a swiper, but no swiping.
Like Dora the Explorer.
I think I understand. Yeah. I think I can internalize this.
That's pretty good. Yeah, swiper, no swiping. Oh, wow. You're right. Yeah. So on Dora the Explorer, back in the day, she used to say swiper, no swiping. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
That's why you said it?
Yes.
Okay, let me play it right here. I found it on the internet. Here we go.
Okay.
Say swiper,
swiper, no swiping.
Swiper, no swiping.
That's really funny. I'm going to think
I
of
can
that.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a swiper.
Here's what I've been noticing with that swiping thing. I mean, it totally rings true to me. I didn't, I mean, I probably should have known that was Skinner, because that's his thing. Is B.F. Skinner is the guy's name, right? The behavioralist?
Oh, no, I didn't know. Yeah.
I think so. I think his name for B.F. Skinner, he was some Harvard genius. He did all kinds of behavioralism things, tied in with language. I don't know. It's out of my league. I don't know the material very well. But when I think behavioralism, I think Pavlov and I think Skinner. So at any rate, the idea that we have this lizard brain, monkey brain, I don't know, whatever part of me, whatever primitive aspect of my brain just wants the next hit, that is a thing. And I used to think I was above it, and my smartphone showed me that I am not above it, because I'll get caught in these traps where I just scroll, I just swipe. What is going to be at the end of this? It's like the fool who thinks there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, you can't get to the end of the rainbow, dummy. That's the whole joke. What is going to be at the end of the series of swipes? Where will I encounter the truth or the thing that makes me happy? The happiness is in the swipe. That's what I figured out about myself. And it made me feel really, really gross. And I've been reckoning with that for about the last 6 months, trying to make some changes.
Do you want me to tell you what was at the end of the swipe today for me that made me get off X or Twitter?
Yeah.
I was on my laptop, and every once in a while I'll check in on X. And today, it was a man being killed. That's what was at the end of my swipe. So
You saw a dude getting killed?
yeah. He had a GoPro on his head. He was, he was in the Ukraine or Russia or something. They were fighting, and guy got killed. And I was like, why? I mean, my life is precious. Why am I watching this of all things? I mean, this man's life was precious. And then I felt sadness for the loss of life. But at the same time, I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm in a air-conditioned house on a phone, and I just watched a man lose his life. And then there's just some kind of little meme type commentary alongside it. I was like, this is insane. So that's what was at the end of the really sad rainbow for me today. So I cut that crap off. Do you know about the app called Freedom? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of Freedom as a concept, but not the app.
Oh, dude, you got to get this, man. I would love it if Freedom were to sponsor Smarter Every Day or this podcast. I would love it. But this is an unsponsored, like, you got to get this. It's freedom.to, like Freedom 2. It's an app. And the app's purpose is to lock you out of your own device in specific ways. So it's kind of like a reverse VPN. It's a thing where you can say, here, I'll just do it real quick. So I have Freedom Premium. So basically what you do is you go to your browser, you click on the little butterfly, and you log in, and you say, okay, here, I'm going to start a session is what I'm going to do. So I have set it up so that I can block Reddit, Twitter, and Instagram. And then you can select all the different devices you want to do it on. So my phone, my desktop editing machine, my laptop, you just click those buttons and say, I don't want to be on Reddit for 25 minutes on these devices starting now. And you just select them all, and then you hit go. And it will block you from that. And so when you try to go to Twitter, when you're here, I'm going to start it real quick from my phone, my editing machine, hit go. I don't know if you heard that. So I clicked it, and it gave me a little session, like bling, like a little ding, like an elevator showing up to your floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go try to get on Twitter, let me do it real quick and see what it says. So I'm going to go to Twitter. So it starts loading X, and it'll say, you are free. It'll just be a big green screen and says, you're free. Go do something productive kind of thing. That's kind of what it tells you. It's awesome. You should totally get it.
Wonderful. The positive framing is great.
Yeah.
But what happens if you set like a 25-minute limit on Reddit, but then something happens and you really need to get onto Reddit? What, you can't?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure out how to beat it, but I haven't tried to. I have no doubt that I could work around. But what it's doing is it's creating
Obviously,
friction.
my point is, did you hear how ridiculous that question sounded? What is going to happen that would cause me to need to be on Reddit? Nothing.
It has actually
There's
happened
no
to me.
thing that could occur where I'm like, I gotta be there right now, no matter what. Maybe you have lived there a little bit more than I have, but it's so incredibly rare that anything would happen on any of these stupid apps that I would just need to be there right now.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's happened to me in the past is I've been doing deep research and I've needed to find the answer to something, and then that answer is in a Reddit post. I mean, that's a thing that happens.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
yeah,
I just
maybe that's the answer.
copy the URL and say, check on this in 30 minutes. Just go keep writing.
Sure.
Check it out, freedom.to. It's a really, really good thing. I actually pay for it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'll check it out and I'll probably do it. The last time you and I talked about this in any kind of length, smartphones, where we're at with it, our smartphone augmented brains, I was telling you that I was finding myself to be really troubled that I had squeezed out all of the in-between time, all of the margins in between things where I used to be creative and come up with stuff and have ideas that would mature and blossom into something that would actually be useful and redemptive.
Mm-hmm.
I was squeezing out that time with just dumb filler apps. I made a ton of progress on that after we talked about it, and then I completely reverted. And that's what I've been contending with these last few months. I leave myself no margin. Traditionally, I've loved being alone with my thoughts, but something's wrong with me. Now I don't. If I'm alone with my thoughts, instinctively, I go to the device. I just draw on a gun from the holster because a bad guy's walking up. The bad guy is, I have time to be alone with my thoughts. I got to draw. What's going on here? And I hate it, man. It's embarrassing. And I'll tell you something that in part awakened me to this was a skit by Tim Robinson on his Netflix show called I Think You Should Leave. Have you heard of this show?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Have you seen the meme of the guy in the hot dog suit trying to yelling about things with a bunch of people? The joke of the meme is the guy in the hot dog suit is trying to solve the riddle along with everyone else as to who might have driven this hot dog car right into this store. Who do you guys think it was? Obviously, it's the guy wearing the hot dog suit.
Yeah.
So it's that guy. It's weird humor. And he did this skit. It was kind of like a CNN, Fox News, hard-hitting journalism kind of thing. I don't duck any questions. We fight over ideas on my show unless I'm losing. And then I just look at my phone. Like, wait, what? He does this thing where somebody will make a good point on his cable news talk show, and all of a sudden he just hunches down in his seat and scrolls his phone with like 4 chins and mumbles to avoid having to engage with the ideas the other person is saying.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, that's really funny. And it's me. Oh, crap. I'm the guy with 3 chins avoiding thinking hard about things with my phone as a social crutch. Oh, what am I doing with the blessing of having a mind and a family and being on the stage of history? This has to be fixed. And so I've been in a bit of an existential crisis mode because I have given up my margins. I've sacrificed them to my damnable phone, and it just has to get corrected.
When I think of this, have you read the Screwtape Letters?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, one of my favorite books. So it's by C.S. Lewis, and it's a demon teaching another demon how to screw up a guy's life. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's like a found footage book before that was a thing. You know what I mean? Like Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is told from the perspective of like, we just found this stuff and here it all is. Make of it what you will. What's cool about Screwtape Letters, it's like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Just here's some correspondence. Just, eavesdrop in on this conversation. It's really cool.
Is that how Dracula was written? Like correspondence?
Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula is a found footage book with newspaper clippings and journal entries and letters and correspondence and telegrams, all compiled together to just give you a sense of what the story is and what the characters are going through. It's really cool.
That's awesome. I've never even thought about reading that, but that sounds great.
It's wonderful.
So the Screwtape Letters, there's a theatrical production made by Fellowship of Performing Arts. It's fantastic. It's actually coming to town soon. I'm going to go to it. It'll be the third time I've seen it. It's a play with just two people on stage. It's Screwtape and it's like an assistant demon. It's not Wormwood, but it's just Screwtape doing monologue style. He's writing the letters on stage. That's what he's doing.
So Screwtape is the demon, and Wormwood in the book is the recipient?
Wormwood is the demon that's being taught how to mess with the patient, which is a normal man that Wormwood has been assigned to just totally screw up his life and drive him further away from God.
And Screwtape is a veteran demon who's providing the mentoring.
Yes, who serves our Father below. Yeah, it's really interesting. But in the play, this is one of the moments where the play actually stuck in my head more than the written word, the book, because as Screwtape is on stage, he starts talking about noise and the importance of noise when you're trying to destroy your patient's life. He's up there and he's saying, the two things we hate are music and silence. We hate a lovely sound and we hate, well, let me just pull up the quote. Can I just read a little quote from you from the Screwtape Letters?
Of course, please.
All right, this is from letter 22 in the Screwtape Letters, and it says this. Now, this is Screwtape talking to Wormwood, and he says, "Music and silence, how I detest them both. How thankful we should be that ever since our father entered hell, though longer ago than humans reckoning in light years could express, no square inch of eternal space and no moment of infernal time has been surrendered to either of those two abominable forces, but all has been occupied by noise, the grand dynamism, the audible expression of all that is exultant, ruthless, and virile." Virile, is that how you say that? Virile?
Sure, that sounded good to me.
What does that mean? Virile? Bad, I guess. Ruthless and virile. Noise, which alone... Go ahead.
I think it means more like aggressive and assertive and full of vigor. And
okay.
Yeah, so I think he's talking about a malicious thing that has all kinds of abundance of energy.
Noise, which alone defends us from silly qualms, despairing scruples, and impossible desires. We will make the whole universe a noise in the end. We have already made great strides in this direction as regards to the earth. The melodies and silences of heaven will be shouted down in the end, but I admit we are not yet loud enough, or anything like it. Research is in progress. That was written a long time ago.
What do you think he means by noise?
Anything to distract you from beauty or silence. That's what I think.
So not just literally sound waves hitting your ears, but by noise, you read that to mean any disruptive force.
Distractions, yeah. In the play, it's the one moment in the play that you get angry. There's several moments when you realize what the demon's doing, but in the play, it just gets really, really loud, and there's car horns, and there's like literal noise, but then there's music and played in a bad way. All kinds of distractions are happening. And for me, in particular, I don't like to be distracted, and I'm fine. Like, I was in a coffee shop today, and I went to work and type, and I noticed there's somebody at the other end of the... I think this is just part of getting old. There was somebody at the other end of the coffee shop just being really loud with no regard to anybody else in the coffee shop. I was like, I need to go to a different room. So I did.
You do get very fussy over noise.
I do.
Like you get grumpy, and you've been that way for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it's a function of age.
Yeah. Does noise bother you?
More than ever lately, man. Since I've been having this problem and realizing that I've been medicating away all of my quiet in-between time with my stupid phone, all of a sudden I actually do get on a thought. I do find myself being productive and having sort of a flourishing moment in the life of my mind, and then noise wrecks it, and I'm mad. And as I am starting to catch this problem and address it and change some habits, I find myself a little bit less angry over noise interruptions because I'm allowing more time for thought. I'm spending more time in those margins. So for me, I get madder over noise because I'm failing to build in any time for thought or reflection, and then noise interrupts me when really I should be mad at myself because I'm not building in time for these things.
I do too. I get really mad, and it's almost like an admission of lack of self-discipline. Like I get mad at myself because I realize that I'm failing. So I'll give you
What?
Yeah.
Failing?
Yeah, I'm failing. Like I'm failing to spend time in thought, and I'm failing to use my mind. And there's a really, really good video. So the first video I suggested watching earlier was
The Skinner box?
the Skinner box. Yeah, it was from a lady. Her channel's name is HG Modernism. The title of the video is "You're not addicted to TikToks / Reels. You're addicted to the scrolling." It's a great video. It's been viewed almost 90,000 times, so it's not like a huge, big video at this point in time, but it's really, really good. She did a great job with it.
One of my mentors said that if you're always looking forward to the next thing, eventually you're looking forward to death. Be careful about looking forward to the next thing all the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
swiping is like, that's taken that to an exponential level of leaning forward to the next thing, next thing, next thing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Hey, buddy, we haven't done this very much, but I kind of wanted to try it out. Maybe just play along. Maybe you think this is a good idea. But I would love to chat just a little bit about the episode we did last time. This is episode 200. That's kind of wild.
Whoa.
That we're talking about this subject matter.
Yeah.
For our 200th episode.
Okay.
I don't think it was intentional. Just is what it is. But our last one, do you remember what it was about, or does it just go downstream for you?
It was the coding and AI stuff. Yeah, we talked about how artificial intelligence is affecting software engineers and the fact that our voice was stolen. Oh, I have an update to tell you about that.
Well, that's exactly what I was probing around for.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
So a friend, Jeff Geerling, turns out his voice was stolen, and he went pretty far down the rabbit hole with a company that's developing a tool to detect when your voice is stolen. I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he do a lot of stuff with his voice? Would it be valuable to steal his voice? Is that the idea?
Absolutely, yeah. He's a YouTuber that does a lot of electronic stuff, and there was a company that was selling something related to electronics or whatever, and they stole his voice and used it, and he had a big conversation with them. Like, he made a video on it, and it looks like Elecrow, Elecrow was the name of the company that stole his voice. So he found them, and he was able to interact with them, and he called them out, and they responded, and they settled some way. I don't know how they did. I think he had donations go to a charity that he liked or something to settle. But anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting.
So they stopped it, though.
They did stop it. Yeah, they did stop it. And furthermore, he was pointing me towards a company that was making a way to detect when somebody steals your voice. So I have to look more into that. I don't know more about it right now. But yeah, Jeff Geerling has a thing on that.
It's exhausting that you even have to contend with that. My goodness.
That's weird.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you mind if I just reel off a couple of comments here from the Patreon discussion and see how it hits you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where we posted the episode on Patreon, and these are things that people said in that comment thread?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bring it.
Yeah. I like this one because it expresses disappointment in you. Micah. Micah writes, the one thing I was disappointed about not being addressed was, quote, does this conversation change if we make it a human? Quote, if a team of writers was doing a Matt Whitman style, would that upset you? If there was an impersonator that got your tone and timbre just right, would Destin be mad if the impersonator got hired for a voiceover on a science video because they sound like Destin? You see what he's setting up here?
Yeah.
No AI here in this scenario.
Yeah, I see it.
He's just saying, would I be fussy if somebody just ripped off my style? They figured out how to sound like me and talk like me. Would you be upset if somebody became a great Destin impersonator and then got hired to sound like you? He goes on. Not claiming to be you, that would be different. But when every college student in every college becomes an amalgamation of all the information that they learn and a slight parrot, either in mannerism, inflection, speech, etc., of their favorite professor, do we call that out as wrong and stolen, or do we just applaud them for how far they've come? I don't want to conflate humanity and machine stuff, but what I was hoping you would wrestle with was how differently we treat things that are functionally the same on a lot of levels. It's a thoughtful comment. What do you make of it?
Well, Mike, I appreciate what you're saying there. I think there's a very clear difference here, and it's that these people are using my voice to try to obtain monetary gain, and they're also affecting my reputation. And so it's pretty clearly out of bounds in my head. I appreciate that. Well, I guess Mike is not saying that it's in bounds, but he's trying to find where that fuzzy line is. Like, how much is too much? I, for one, don't think it's okay for comedians to steal jokes from other comedians. I think that's out of bounds. And so you could say, oh, well, it's just an amalgamation. All jokes are jokes. So, like, I was at a party where we told jokes, so I just told the joke I know. Without proper attribution, I think it's theft. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not hard to steal a joke. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. Well, what's your thought on that, Matt?
I like what he's driving at. I agree. I think he just wanted to hear us talk about it. I don't think he's necessarily making the argument, but it's a question of how derivative is too derivative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it too derivative for somebody to get a whole bunch of bookshelves and put it behind them? That wasn't a thing very much when I started. It's ridiculous that it wasn't, because it seems so obvious. It's just where you sit. That's where your books go. But then that became a thing. Okay, that's cool. Is it super derivative to be like, I'm an outsider and I've never been to a church like this. I'm going to take a camera and go make a video there. Well, there weren't videos like that when I started making them. Now there are lots of videos like that. Is that too derivative? No. People are allowed to go to churches they haven't been to before and ask questions and film it. I think that's probably good. Did I feel a little tinge of irritation the first time I saw it? Yeah, but that probably isn't a mark of maturity on my part. But I'm with you. I don't think the examples that Micah gave rise to the same level. I think those are all perfectly acceptable forms of being derivative, and that everybody signed up for that. You go to college, the professor signed up for, everybody's going to imitate me. I mean, that's what colleges want. They want to produce intellectual offspring who will go and proliferate their same ideas in the same style, with the same voice, using the same kind of language. It's how you have generational intellectual influence. They're trying to do that. What you're doing, I mean, it's your job, it's your reputation. You're not doing a faceless YouTube channel. You are taking the risk, and you get to fire that bullet one time. This is your face. This is your name. You're from Alabama. This is who you are. You don't get to just wad it up and start over if something goes haywire with it. And I do feel like somebody grabbing your voice, cloning it, and doing crap with it, I think they're like messing with you. I think it's super uncool, because it is your life, and it is your name, and it is your voice. And you're in that in-between place. You're not a celebrity. People are happy when they see you in public. I mean, but not like they would be if they saw Tom Cruise. There isn't like screaming and shrieking and an instant flash mob when you and I go somewhere and you recognize, like at the mall or something. Somebody just comes over and they're usually pretty cool. And they're like, hey, I saw your video. I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for making those. And that's it. And then you ask some questions and it's a friendly exchange usually. And that's it. You don't occupy the same role in society as someone who's basically forfeited all of their autonomy in exchange for superstardom. Maybe at that level, it's just, you can't be controlled. Maybe at that level, it just becomes inevitable. But the kind of stuff that happened to you with that voice cloning thing, that feels like it is evitable. It feels like it is a violation. So I'm with you.
So we actually had a meeting as a family. Saying a meeting sounds a little too fancy, but we were at a birthday party, and all my brother and sisters and mom and dad and all my family, we were all in the same place. And I said, hey, real quick, before we leave, I need to tell y'all something. And I pulled up the video, and I basically said, my voice is compromised. And I played the video, and my sister, without missing a beat, looks at me and said, what's our code word?
That's exactly right.
Like the,
what is it?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you our code word, but everybody in the room, like my family's, they're really with it, smart people. And they just looked at me and they were like, yeah, what's our code word? How we, I mean, that's the obvious 2-factor way to get around this or whatever it is. It was fun. We came up with a code word. My mom actually came up with a code word. I suggested one, and they were like, "No, that's lame. We're not doing that." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Your mom came up with it?
Yeah, my mom came up with it.
Okay, so the secret code word is sweet pumpkin baby.
That's not what my mom sounds like at all. That's pretty fun.
Okay, I was just trying it.
Yeah.
Wanted to see if I could make you change your code word.
No.
We have a couple of scenarios that they're just not on the internet, never talked about it. They're just funny family things, and you need to know all of those scenarios if it ever sounds weird.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember the thing from the thing that nobody else knows, and it's just our little immediate family funny thing that happened. Do you remember it? Fill in the gap. And if you can't fill in the gap, it's an imposter. Shoot him. Well, I mean,
That's pretty good. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, thanks for the question, Micah.
Did you catch that somebody... Oh, agreed. Did you catch that somebody in the comments knew why Python is called Python and my idea was wrong?
I did. They said it was from Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail, which is awesome. What is your quest? To find the Holy Grail. That's fantastic.
But do you know why? Did you read any explanation for why Python is called? Like, what's the connection?
Yeah, in the Patreon thread, let's see who it was. It was Octesian said Monty Python's actually named after Monty Python. And then there was somebody else that, I forget who it was, that brought it up and said that the people that made the language were just really into Monty Python, and they thought it was cool. And I thought that was great.
And that was it.
But they said that...
Because it was cool.
Somebody, I forget where I read it, they said that your description of, this serpent that was guarding the whatever, they're like, man, that was so eloquent. That thing that Matt said was amazing. Also very wrong. But it was so good.
The first time I saw that Python was the name of a coding language, that is right where my head went. You remember that story in Acts in the Bible where there's the girl, the slave girl who can predict the future, or like she's possessed, or like some sort of cryptic knower of things, a riddle teller, soothsayer. And then the apostle Paul is like, that there's a demon. And he casts out the demon, and now she can't tell the future anymore. But her dirty slave owner, master of the house type is mad because now he can't exploit the kid anymore. And I mean, the spirit that she was said to have was the Pythonic spirit. So I remembered from reading that somewhere, and I thought, ooh, that's a cool connection. Bible, Greek mythology, coding, dead wrong about everything. Oh, well.
That was good.
Seemed like it'd be cool. Like, okay, well, I thought it'd be fun. All right, let's do one more here. There was a lot of lively conversation on this one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I want to bounce back one more episode to 198. Do you remember what 2 episodes ago was about, or did you forget that one now?
The Crash at Crush, right?
Nice job, man.
Yeah.
You're on it. What happens if you go back one more? Do you remember what that is? I want to see when you break.
Well, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, well, that's cheating.
That's how to get friends.
Yes. And if I go one more back, I think I lose it. Is it Toys?
Yeah.
Before
Toys
that?
is before
that.
that,
Toy
yeah.
episode from Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely
I'm broken after
definitely
that.
in trouble.
Yeah, I don't have
after
any.
that one. Okay, cool. We did one about the Holy Grail in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe before
we did.
Toys.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, because I remember you made the cool cup thumbnail. Thanks for making the thumbnails, by the way. Every now and then you just surprise me. You're like, I made a fun thumbnail, and then I see it on there, and I think, did I make it? No. Then it was Destin. Those were fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah.
All right. I had a follow-up from the Crash at Crush. A whole bunch of different people jumped in different places and had a take on what the torpedoes were. Do you remember the torpedo controversy disagreement that we had?
Yeah, so I thought they were actual explosions because of how it was written, and you thought it was not actual explosions because of how it was written. But we have an answer.
I thought it was a metaphor for the train. The train is a torpedo hurtling down the track, or a simile, I guess, and we were both wrong. Mm-hmm. So what'd they turn out to be?
They're called railway detonators. It's like a little wound up paper banger. So like you can put it on the track, and when the train wheel hits it, it'll explode. And that's a way to signal to the train, hey, you need to stop. And so back before there were radios, that's how they operate trains nowadays, I believe. But let's say there was an issue on the track. You would send a runner straight up the track to put these bangers or these torpedoes on the track so that when the engineer is driving and he hears bang, 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 because they've got these little detonators right on the rail. He knows, I need to shut this train down. Something's wrong.
But I would think that would be, there's a huge flaw in that system, though. When you're talking about trains traversing the Old West, and all of a sudden the engineer hears bang, 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 and it was like, I should stop the train. Like, what if they're train robbers? You would want the train to keep going.
Yeah.
You got to make definitely sure that what you're hearing, I don't know about the system. That's my point. I have some concerns.
There's got to be a way to, okay, let's see. Okay, I'm on the Wikipedia article now. Detonator railway.
David Tanner, by the way. David Tanner was the guy who pointed us that direction. Good comment.
Thanks, David. Yeah. So it says in the United States, a torpedo is a device which is strapped to the top of a rail. When a train drives over the torpedo, it emits a very loud bang, which can be heard over the noise of the engine and signals the engineer to stop immediately. Torpedoes are generally placed by the flagman when protecting a train ahead. Torpedoes are about 2 inches by 2 inches, red in color, about 3/4 inches high, and have 2 lead straps attached, which hold it to the rail. The torpedo has discs that are filled with detonating powder. The torpedo was invented in about 1874. That's pretty cool. And so when was the crash at Crush? 1880?
I don't know, dude. That was like 2 episodes ago.
1896.
Scott Joplin was there.
Yeah.
So it's got to, there you go.
Yeah. So they're about 20 years old at that point.
Okay. So the torpedoes then were at the crash at Crush to make it cooler. They served no functional purpose, right?
Yeah. I guess they would put them, if I were designing it, I would go right to the midpoint where the detonation or the impact were to occur. And I would say, okay, 50 feet in each direction, now 100 feet in each direction. And that would give me an idea of which one was running faster. So if you hear bang to your right before bang to the left, you're like, the train on the right is going to get here first.
Yeah, well, maybe they were using the torpedo. Maybe, interesting.
No, it wasn't a closed loop system because the engineers started up the train and then jumped off.
And they left. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it would help the organizers have just to know that things were working or whatever, but also it just looks and sounds cool, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, can you still buy these things?
Because it's not warning them of danger ahead. You want there to be danger ahead if you're trying to crash 2 trains together.
Can you still buy railway detonators? Let me see.
I don't know.
I'm sure you can. Railway track signals. Howard's Fireworks. Oh, yeah. You can totally buy them. There you go.
Huh.
Okay. That's in Australia. Apparently they still use them in Australia. Interesting. Thank you very much, David, for telling us. That's really cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And we whiffed on that one. I had no idea what that meant, and now I do.
Can we start doing this more where we engage with comments from older episodes? This is really cool. Like it gives us some feedback in the system here. Is that cool with you?
Somebody liked my Foghorn Leghorn accent. That makes me happy too. Yes, I think so. It's going to be a little disorienting if we have segments like this from time to time and people haven't listened to the previous episode. But you know what that makes me think?
What?
Tough. Just listen to the previous episode then. What are you doing?
There you go.
Just go listen to it. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Let's try it again next time around. Let's see what people think and what kind of feedback we get on it. And yeah, but I mean, there's so much good feedback every time. And I'd like to encourage more because we don't know all the things we're talking about. And in this case, now I do know because people told me where Python came from and people told me what the railroad torpedoes were and I didn't know. And I never would have known because I never would have remembered to go back and look it up. And now I know. So thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, we need a name for this segment. Or maybe not. We'll come up with it. Yeah.
How about Carl?
No, we can't. I don't want that to be it. No. Another video that I thought was really good was recently put out by a YouTube channel called Technology Connections. Have you seen this?
All right.
Have you heard of it?
Maybe. Tell me what the video is.
It's a recent video called Algorithms Are Breaking How We Think. And it's stuff you know, but...
Did you send it to me? I saw it today.
I tweeted it, actually. So that's where you saw it?
That's where I saw it. Dang it. Oh, dude, this whole stupid conversation just imploded.
Yeah.
Dang it.
That's pretty funny.
Yes. Yes, I knew about it because of the thing I'm not trying to use.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, I look like an idiot.
No, you don't,
Crap.
man. That's what I did. But it's
Golly.
it's a fantastic video. And basically it's talking about how algorithms are changing. 1 second. I'm going to find his name. Please, can you snap for me? I think his name starts with an A. Alec, yes. Yeah, the host of Technology let me just here. The host of Technology Connections, his name is Alec. I've met him before. He's a great dude, really interesting. And what I like about his channel is he doesn't play by the rules, meaning the YouTube rules. Like, this is what a YouTube video is going to look like. He tells you what he actually thinks. And he doesn't try to overproduce it with video and stuff like that. He just does a really good job. And so I highly recommend the video called Algorithms Are Breaking How We Think. And he takes you through this little exercise of trying to troubleshoot. And he's, without ever saying the term, he's describing critical thinking. And he's describing how slowly society is losing the ability to think critically, but he's doing it in a very clever way.
How's it clever? What's he doing?
He starts by saying, hey, this is a radio, and he shows you an old radio, and he says, can you tell me what vacuum tubes to put in this? And he walks you through the process of doing research and finding a schematic of this radio. And then he explains to you, like, you just did basic research. That's a thing that people used to do a lot. And now you don't really do it that way. This is how you would do it. And he shows you how modern people do it. It's just a really interesting, there's no, at the end of the video, there's not a big aha moment, but I think he just does a really good job of expressing a lot of the things that a lot of people think about.
Why do you think we're worse at problem solving? How did the phones and the algorithm make us worse at that?
I'll give you a very real example. I went to a college visit with one of my kids recently, and you can tell a lot from a college visit by the tour and how it goes. Our tour guides, there were two of them on this particular college visit. We came to a locked door. The door was locked. You're a tour guide, and you have 20 people with you, 10 parents, 10 kids, and you come to a locked door. You were showing them your college and how important it is. They were like, we need to go to that place to continue the tour. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself, what kind of people does this college produce? How are they going to solve this problem?
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you think they did?
Was it a good tour or was it bad?
Well, they pulled out their phones.
Okay, let me try this. Solutions to a locked door. I can't believe we're doing this exercise.
Yeah, we're doing
we
it,
expect
man. We're
people
doing
to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, Destin is the dungeon master, and he has just led me to a locked door.
Yes.
Obstacle. What am I going to do? Okay, well, I assume that he didn't want to destroy property, so we're not going to try to overpower the door. Option 2. Bang on the door, because maybe there's someone on the other side of it and they would let us in. We could bang on the door, or we could look in a couple windows and signal people with some sort of universal hand gesture of, could you let me in that door? That would be an option.
Uh-huh.
Another option would be to go to a different door.
Yes.
Because probably there's another way into this building, and you could say something like, let me just try this on here. We really value security on this campus. It's one of our highest priorities. And so from time to time when we do these tours, we'll just run into a door that is locked. And our feeling is, hey, it's better to be overly cautious than underly cautious. There's always a way around. Let's slide over this direction. We're just going to grab this other door.
Okay.
That would work great.
It's option 3.
You spin it into a positive.
Yeah.
Another option would be maybe you know someone on the other side of the door and you could telephone them and have them come and open it. And then while there's a little bit of time and lag there, you could point out a couple other things or ask if anybody has any questions.
Okay, let me stop you there.
You could just, okay.
What was option 1 you said again?
Kick it down.
Yeah.
I think I dismissed that. That was like pre-option 1.
Okay, so
was kick down the door.
I'm doing a personal discipline.
Option 1 was bang on it.
No, that was option 2.
Okay, that's 2.
So I'm doing this personal discipline thing where I've noticed that I'm an extreme extrovert. It's taken me years to notice this. And I instantly jump to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Often, I don't let other people come, I don't know. I do it too fast. I've noticed that about myself. Like, here's a problem, solve it. So as a personal discipline, I have started sitting back.
And in fairness, you're good at it. Sometimes also your solutions don't work.
Well,
Because, it's not like just every time the solution will go, but generally speaking, you're good at it. So I understand why you would want to jump in. It makes sense.
well, I'm learning how to pump the brakes. And so I've learned how to like, hey, I don't have to fix this problem. I can sit here and let other people.
Why are you not? I mean, there's a problem. It needs to be fixed. Why would you punt on that?
I don't know. I've just started doing it. I've started doing it. A lot of it has to do with a book I read called When Helping Hurts.
Oh,
I've just been waiting and just not solving the problem immediately. And so we come to the locked door, and I was like, oh, the door's locked. We have to get into that little courtyard there so we can see this little demonstration. Huh. Well, I guess we'll just wait until somebody opens it. They went not to option 2. You jokingly said kick it down, number 1, but option 2 was knock on the door. They didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They did not knock on the door.
wouldn't that normally be the first thing in the operational flow chart for what to do when a door is locked and you need to get through it?
They didn't do that. And I watched it happen, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. They went straight to your fourth solution, which was use the phone to figure out how to open the door. They pulled their phone out, and they didn't call anybody. They texted somebody and waited for it to open, and it didn't. And they said, oh, well, they said it should be open, but it's not. Huh, that's weird. Let's just go back over here in this building and stay warm for a second until somebody opens it. And then we went back to a building, and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is fascinating. So we sat in the building, and we just kind of looked at them, and they're the tour guide, and they were just standing in a hall with us, being warm. And I was like, well,
20 people?
yeah. I was like, this is kind of the time when you talk to people, but they're not really talking to me. What do I do? And so everything in me was saying, make everybody around you comfortable. You know, I do that. And then I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And so I just sat there and waited. And then they said, oh, well, I got a text. Let's go back over there. So we went back over there. The door was still locked. And the obvious answer is go around, go find another. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just interesting. So I noticed that you would have knocked on the door. That didn't happen. We went straight to text, and I don't know what this says. I just found it to be very, very interesting. And so my point is, Technology Connections made a video called Algorithms Are Breaking How We Think, and I think it's worth your time. I also love that it's a 37-minute long video, and you have to, focus in order to...
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you watch it at 1.25, 1.5?
No, I watched it 1.0. I just watched it. And I was working on something else in another window, but I just listened to it while I was doing some other stuff.
I'm sorry. Somebody was telling me about this video earlier, and they were like, you have to watch it. Really? Oh, it was you. But you were doing something in another window as well. I was just trying to understand. I was trying to reconcile those
You're
two
not wrong.
things.
You're not wrong. This is a bunch of old man yells at cloud kind of stuff here, but I think it's interesting.
No, it isn't. No. Don't do that. That right there is it's an attempt at self-awareness, and I respect it. But old man yells at clouds, that's the kind of thing that happens when people who aren't making any effort to deal with their own problems talk about a problem. We have been that before. We are both acknowledging this is a problem, and we are in it, and we are part of the problem. No, you sound wildly self-aware and like someone who is carefully taking stock of his own life and trying to figure out not how to just flush everything that's confusing and disorienting down the toilet. You're trying to make sense of your soul. This is a lifelong endeavor. You're supposed to do soul care when you're young, when you're medium, and when you're old. No, I don't think you should diminish the things you've brought up here like that. This is meaningful conversation. You're doing it right.
Well, I guess that's what I'm noticing for me. I need to use this app called Freedom more often. I currently do not have Twitter, Instagram, or Reddit on my phone. I go in waves. I'll put them on my phone for a short period of time, and then I'll delete them. And I'm currently in a everything is deleted phase. I can get to Reddit through the browser, but often I choose not to. This is just a thing I'm dealing with, and it all boils back to noise.
Yeah.
Boils down to noise.
there you go.
I'm trying to minimize the noise in my life. And I just wanted to say that when I was on the phone with you and you went into your room and you told Alexa to get into podcast mode or whatever it was, and it said, what does it say? Beware of Twitter. It devours days. Is that what
It devours days. That's what I told it to say to me.
When you did that, I really wanted to talk to you in that moment, but I was like, no, I'm just going to wait because I really respect that. I mean, that's an admission that you have a problem, like I do. I have a problem, which is addicted to social media. You have a problem, and you are taking steps in your private life to address it. And I just want to tell you, I respect you for that.
Likewise. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for engaging with that. My son engaged with that 2 nights ago as well. We were out here working on a project together. Oh, he's so much fun, man. Anything that needs to be done, I'm like, boy, let's go. Do a little swirly, pack up your stuff, here we go gesture with my pointer finger over my head.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't gripe. He's in. He is all about it. Anything that needs to be done right now, I bring him with and we do it. We unpack it. I ask questions. What do you think we should do here? How does this work? It looks like I'm mentoring him, but I'm mentoring me to do the thing that you're doing as well. I'm developing the discipline of I don't have to be the knower of things. I want him to figure it out. I want him to be the knower of things. And maybe other people will see things that I don't see because I don't know all the stuff. So we're in here doing it. The studio is in the wrong mode for the project we're working on. I've got all my modes, so I gave my command and it all changed, and it happened to be that desk mode was the right thing for the project we were working on. So I got the message about Twitter. And my son is like, Twitter reminds me of the Lotus Casino in Percy Jackson where they forgot time.
I don't know what that is, but go ahead.
He's right. I don't know anything about Percy Jackson. I saw the movie. It didn't move the needle for me, whatever. It's a Harry Potter style story, The Chosen One, set in a high school style environment where they have to navigate the travails of being a young person and learn the value of friendship and mature together. I like these kind of stories. I mean, I kind of get them. I don't want to read them all. But so I went to this Percy Jackson movie years and years ago. And there was this one scene that stood out to me where in the Odyssey, there's a place where there's these people, they're the Lotus Eaters, and the Lotus Eaters consume this flower and it makes them forget everything. They forget time. They forget to think. They forget everything. And they think they're happy, but they're not happy. And it's one of the most dangerous places that the characters have to navigate. It feels like it should be an island in The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Yeah.
And in the sort of modernized adaptation of that story with this Percy Jackson thing, they picked a casino. No windows, no clocks, no orienting features to be representative of the Lotus. And indeed, the TV show that's so popular right now, the Mike, your buddy knows him, George knows him, Mike White. He has the show on HBO called White Lotus it's about people who go on vacation and kind of forget themselves, or maybe who they are actually come out there. So I just thought it was really cool that my son made this connection and was like, Twitter's your White Lotus, Dad.
He said that?
Wow. It maybe wasn't that concise, but that was his point. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Dude, that's great. Good job teaching your kid that. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, your boy's really smart. I think our generation messed it up. I think we just
everybody messed it up, man.
Yeah, everybody messed it up. But I think we're.
How do you think we messed it up?
Oh, we just embraced it. We're like, yeah, social media right in our pocket. Let's do it. I don't give my son social media.
Same.
When I got home the other day, I was like, "What you doing there, buddy?" And he was on the back porch sitting down in front of the door. And I was like, what is he doing? And so I went and I opened the back door. I was like, what's going on? He goes, dadgummit, Dad. I was like, what? He's like, I almost had it. I almost had what? He's like, I've been sitting here trying to pick the lock for 25 minutes, and I had the first 3 pins done, and I was about to get in, but then you unlocked it. So he's learning practical skills, and Just the idea of a young man focusing for a really long time on picking a lock, and there's no external motivation to do it. It's not like, I bet you can't pick that lock. He's just like, I want to learn how to pick a lock. And so he started doing it.
Yeah, no likes in play at all.
No, nobody knows what he's doing. He's just doing it. And I was like, man, I love my son. So
I'm really concerned about that White Lotus phenomenon, and I think what your son was doing right there is the exact opposite. If you want to be the opposite of a Lotus Eater, that's the trick right there. Do things. It's weird that the internet has figured it out, or is trying to figure it out with the saying, you can just do things. I like it. That's a good trend on the internet.
Yeah.
You can just do things. You can learn how to pick a lock. I mean, you can do anything. It's just the world is so incredibly full of opportunity, and being alive is I can't imagine anything we more take for granted than I am alive. I have my faculties. My body more or less works. I can engage with the world external to myself. I can talk to other people, and they can take ideas and thoughts and emotions and art and a point of view that is entirely inside of them. They can formulate sound waves, and they can make me feel and hear those things. The world is so rich with opportunity, and I don't think the past tense of this word is technically a swear. If it is, we can have Tina delete it. I have away way too much of it on White Lotus stuff. It's not a swear in the past tense. You nose giggled at that.
I think it's a swear.
It's not a swear.
That's a past. Yes,
no.
That's a swear. No doubt.
I don't think it is. I think it's only a swear. No. Okay. Tina, just bleep all this. Is definitely a swear. The infinitive is a swear. For sure. I think the gerund
This
form,
is noise. You're
that's a
doing the
swear.
noise thing. We don't want to be noise on the internet.
No, I'm getting toward truth. You said my word was a swear. I don't think it is.
I have homework for everybody. I have 3 pieces of homework. Number 1,
All right. What are
I'll
they?
leave a link down in the show notes. Watch a video called You're Not Addicted to TikTok Reels, You're Addicted to the Scrolling. I'll leave that there. Number 2, maybe listen to Alex's video on technology connections. Algorithms are breaking how we think. I thought it was a good video. And number 3, consider downloading the Freedom app. Freedom.to. Freedom.to. Those are my homeworks. That's what I want to say.
Okay, can I add number 4?
Sure.
Simply an intellectual exercise. With a pen and a sheet of paper, write down what could be at the end of the scroll or the swiping series that would make it worth it, that would cause you to be like, yeah, that's what I was looking for. I'm not kidding. It sounds silly, but really try to write down, maybe there is something, in which case I bet there's somewhere better to find it. Go look where it actually is then, but write down what it is you actually want at the end of all the swiping and all the scrolling. And if it might be at the end of the scrolling, my friend, keep scrolling. Maybe it'll be there. But I bet you're going to find that it would be easier to get it somewhere else.
Yeah, I like that. 4 things for homework.
Yeah.